All right, what's up, everybody? Let's see who's here, who's checking in. J Music Lover, Beauty Shark Ginger. Hey, Beauty Shark Ginger, how you doing? As you can see, this is what I do. This is from the Beauty Shark Ginger, everybody. Giving me my LL for my lips. Thank you so much. Aaron, what's happening? So, I know I haven't been on for a while with Powershift, Powershift your week, but I was traveling and then in certain areas where I couldn't do the broadcast, but I'm doing it today from my house. I'm having construction going on in my house, so please excuse me and be patient with me if you hear some banging and some sawing and some other stuff like that, but I'm really glad to be back after 2 weeks off. And remember, tomorrow I do Power Talks. I got to check out who's going to be my guest tomorrow. But of course, Powershift Your Week is the stuff that I have learned or I'm thinking or I've reviewed and that I am using for myself. And then, I think you can use for yourself. And I'm going to bring somebody on from here. So put in your request right now to join me with some good, tough questions, I hope, or some suggestions and promote your business, of course, to people everywhere. All right, there goes the banging noise. I told you you're going to hear some of that. And boy, that person banging loud. All right. Do me a favor, put in a thumbs up if you can hear me, please. And let me pin this. What is it called? Power Talks. Hold on 1 second. Power Shift Your Week. All right. And put the Power Shift Your Week in. I always forget to pin this stuff. My eyes are getting really bad, but I heard that you can actually get LASIK after 50. Before they said you couldn't do that. How many people have LASIK right now? Because my eyes are getting horrible. All right, so we're ready to rock. So let me start off with a did you know? So check this out. Did you know? According to Ben & Jerry's website, Ben Cohen of Ben & Jerry is the reason, and that banging noise, is the reason their ice cream flavors have such big chunks in them. He has no sense of smell and very little sense of taste, and when he and Jerry were developing their flavors, he loved the texture of the big chunks. Now, that being said, think about how Ben & Jerry, thank you so much, Aziz, 1999M. Think about how much of those things that you have that you would call a weakness or a lack of something has become your strengths. Because we have both the option to either say, this is a weakness. It's like me saying, well, I'm dyslexic. Well, I'm short. Well, I'm African American. Well, I'm not athletic bound. Well, I got left back in school. I didn't go to college. I was raised by a single mother. I didn't have any siblings. Think about all those. And when I remember working in Red Lobster and I was really being humbled, and I think that I heard a good saying, and I'm going to start saying this all the time. There are two types of people in the world, those who are humble or those who are about to be humbled. I don't care where you are in life, at one moment or another, you are going to be humbled. And when I was working in Red Lobster, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed that I wasn't smart enough to go to school or that I was too lazy to go to school. And somebody said, K-Back said, being African American is a weakness with a question mark. No, absolutely no, it's not. But what I'm saying is, and I'll jump back on, is everybody will find a reason to say whatever you are is a weakness. I'm a woman, I'm tall, because I'm taller than everybody, but I don't play basketball. Well, I'm short. Well, I'm round. Well, I'm skinny. Well, I'm strong, so I'm supposed to beat up everybody. So whenever I say that people think there's something as a weakness, they can think anything is a weakness. Even people who are smart. Remember Revenge of the Nerds? Nerds. Because you were smart was a weakness. Because you're dumb is a weakness. Or because you're whatever. Everybody believes that something is a weakness. And nothing is a weakness. It's only what you have been gifted with or challenged with. Even if you've seen people who have been handy capable, and I'm going to say handy capable because they have different challenges, but their mental and or physical abilities are weaknesses, are strength. Those who they say are on the spectrum. Well, there's a lot of people that are on the spectrum that are geniuses. So everybody concerns something as a weakness. And some people born with money are said to be a weakness because they say if you give somebody everything in the world, then you make them the poorest person in the world. So whenever you hear me make any statement of anything, everybody believes they have some level of a weakness. So going back to my story about working in Red Lobster, is that then I turned around and I decided, you know what? I'm not going to take myself too serious. I'm not that bright because I didn't know how to retain information, but because I took off that year of college and I thought everybody else was stupid because they went to college, and now I looked at myself and said, I don't have a career. So I had to take a real look at inside of myself and say, what was my weakness? My weakness was my ego. That was my weakness. Now my weakness is that I don't have a career or I don't have an education. However, I'm working inside a corporation, and as a simple waiter, we would get the quarterly reports on what was served, what wasn't served, where the profit margin was. Nobody had to look at that besides maybe the managers or top management. But I looked at it and I started to see where they were making their profits, where they were taking their losses. I started to understand how managers would, let's say a waiter, or there was a slow night, they would cut the wait staff down by this. I started to realize other things they were doing where other people just didn't notice it. But I noticed, how they used to have busboys over at a lot of these restaurants. Well, I remember them bringing us all in for one of them quarterly meetings, say, we're not going to have busboys anymore. And I was like, what are you, crazy? I got to take care of 6, 7 tables. And how am I going to take care of these tables without busboys or busgirls? They were like, well, you guys and girls are leaving this stuff on the table too much anyway, because you think a busboy is going to pick it up. And if we have 2 busboys and we have 80 tables, how many tables can they bus? But you guys are dependent on them. You're using the busboys and the busgirls as crutches. And I said, this guy's crazy. And he said, here's a very simple thing that we've done a test. If every time you take something out to the table and you take back 2 things or 1 thing, your table will be clean. And what happens is, instead of you walking into the restaurant as a customer going, hey, can I have a table? And the host is going, well, the busboys and the busgirls haven't cleaned 17 tables. Guess what? It's your job to clean the table. And because you work off of mainly tips, if you clean the table fast, that means you're more attentive. You go back often to see how the customer is doing. And then when you clean the table often, you get sat more because you clean the table quicker. So those who are sloppy and don't clean their tables, they don't get as many customers. And you can turn your tables, if you have 6 tables and you can turn your tables 6 times a night, and you make an average of $20 a tip each table, think about that. 6 times a night times 6 tables is a good amount of money. So I say all that to say I learned from those people that I was working with in Red Lobster and all my other jobs. I worked at Church's Fried Chicken. I worked as an apprentice electrician. I worked, all kind of stuff like that. So why do I say that? What is your weakness right now that you are thinking about right now? And during this crazy time, you're thinking it's a weakness, but it could possibly be a strength. Right? That you can tap into, and you can then look at yourself and say, well, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? I saw a post by Barbara, and I'm going to repost it. It was about 2 days ago, and I heard her talk about this letter in the past, but I never actually saw the letter. And she wrote a letter to Mark Burnett when she got turned down for Shark Tank. And I'm going to tell you now, go back and check out that letter that she wrote, because she highlighted her weaknesses, she highlighted her strength, and she said why she was unstoppable. And that letter that Barbara wrote, I want every single one of you, when you find rejection, to turn that letter into one of your emails or something like that you can send out to people in your own words, in your own terms, because it's the structure of one of the most powerful letters that I have seen, period. All right. So, all right. So I'm gonna, and by the way, I see some people talking about politics here. And if you do that, I'm going to block you, because this is not a stage for that right now. Thank you. I appreciate everybody. Everybody's here to learn. I'm going to now, let me see. I'm going to put on anybody who has some good questions for me or comments. Let's see who's out here. I'm going to put on How to spell insulting.
Hey, Damon.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing, brother? Where you from?
I'm from Northern California, so the Bay Area I grew up in.
Ah, gotcha. I gotcha. Now, how do you? What's your what's your name on Instagram? Because I couldn't understand
My
it.
name is Arbin,
Uh-huh.
A-R-B as in boy, E-N. So
Okay.
Ben with an R in front.
Okay. All right.
Arbin.
What's up,
Yeah.
Arvin?
Nice to meet you, Damon. I was just talking, like hearing you talk about your time at Red Lobster and your other jobs, and how you said ego is kind of like the line of fault for you. How was ego the line of fault if you were able to like sustain yourself in these really tough, laborious jobs? Like you spent years locked away in employment that other people your age maybe wasn't doing. So was that kind of out of necessity that you had to stay in those types of jobs, jumping from one to the other, or was it more of a conscious choice to like lead you to a better path of success?
You know, I think that's a very powerful question because there's a difference in ego and there's a difference of confidence and there's a difference of responsibility in doing what you got to do.
Yeah.
And where I grew up, if I was bagging groceries or something like that, and all the kids who didn't have a job would go in the grocery store and see me bagging groceries, not that I did, but I had no problem doing it, they would have said, "Aha," you know, they would have laughed at me. And a lot of us do what we have to do. I felt that working at Red Lobster and doing any odd job that I could was something that I just had to do because what were my other options? If I didn't have any kind of education, then I could either sell drugs, I could depend on my mother, or I can get on welfare. None of those were, as far as I'm concerned, an option. I would have selling drugs. I could end up dead or in jail, right? And plus, if you look at the average amount of money a drug dealer makes, I mean, we all think drug dealers make a lot of money, right? You know, back when I was growing up, maybe a drug dealer would make $50,000, and let's say you do that over 10 years. Okay, that's $500,000. But wait, there's more.
Not legal cash.
Oh no, but the $500,000, I'm sorry, you're in jail off and on, so you're not really working 10 years, you're working 6 years because you spent
Yeah.
whatever. So now that's $300,000, right? Oh, by the way, I forgot, you got to pay for lawyers and to get bailed out all those times. So now you're at $200,000. Oh, you don't have any medical, you don't have any benefits. Oh my God, you might get shot, and when you're in jail, you may end up being cuddled up with somebody who's really excited to see you.
Yep. Plus the stress expense as well.
You
Your
end
whole
up
life
around
is just...
you end up around 150 over 10 years. You know what? McDonald's is a better job for me as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I say all that to say, when you see people who are too good to do anything and do a honest man or woman's day job work and assault to the earth and just bust their ass, that's when ego is taking over.
Okay, and then maybe on the other side, maybe not so much on ego. Just I'll throw you one last question. Like going from those types of jobs that the objective is clear, kind of anyone can do it, right? It's just kind of a hard labor. Going from there into like the more professional setting, I guess what I'm trying to say is like I don't have an ego per se. Like I'm willing to pick up the gum off the ground if you ask me. Like even if I'm not getting paid, like if no one picks it up, someone's got to pick it up, or else it's gonna stay there forever. So my question is like, I've got that hardworking attitude. I struggle a lot with the systems in place for like professional life, for sending in resume, showing up in a suit all the time. I don't have that much money for nice clothes so much yet. I work in the finance field, like all these sort of things. I'm just trying to see like how I can take my step up from, being a hard worker and willing to put in the hours and the time and the research, and really like connect myself to some place I can build. Like I don't know. It's a really vague question.
It's not a vague question. It's a really good question too, because what you're saying is that you're a hard worker, and that's what I like to hear. You said, I will pick up the gum because somebody's got to pick up the gum. A lot of people don't realize somebody's got to pick up the goddamn gum. They think the gum gets picked up automatically. Now, I speak a lot of places, and I've spoke to places where, when we go into places, we take things for granted a lot of time. When we go into nice buildings, nice places, somebody picked up the gum, somebody cleaned the shitty ass toilet that you're taking your baby into, right? And that person is a hardworking person. Maybe that person's in the union and that person's changing the game. However, what you're saying is that you're willing to do everything, but you're saying you feel intimidated or you going into the bigger world, or you're saying that you don't want to wear the suit. How can you take that hardworking personality and apply yourself someplace in the way you want to apply? Is that what you're asking? I'm trying
Yeah,
to figure that out.
yeah. In a way, I mean, I come from an immigrant family. Both my parents busted their ass to go from nowhere to here. I've been around some of the best. I've been in the best institutions in California, around some of the brightest, richest, most well-off kids, all this type of stuff. So it's not that I'm uncomfortable with it or I don't really know how to play in it. It's kind of like taking that first step into actually applying my hard work to change in my industry, like in my field. Because I just think it's so easy to click into like these quick jobs and build that wealth, build that money, then later figure out how to leverage it, invest, all that type of stuff. But like I'm just missing that click into like I can do it into my field, and maybe it's a confidence thing. I'm 21.
You're asking really, really great questions at a time when, you know, when you're around 18 or 19, you're supposed to be the dumbest you've ever been in your life.
Oh, I've quickly got those years in, sir.
and I'm saying that because what happens is you have moved from being sheltered and or taken care of to now making your own decisions. You have a lot of testosterone going on. You got a lot of social life that goes going on. You're trying to learn, but you're going out to the world, but you don't want to seem like an idiot. So you're at the part where you kind of act or think you know everything, and you really don't know as much as, you know, a lot of people would. But you're asking extremely tough questions. Now, the real inspiration to this question is, how can you stay you and do what you love? Now, the first part is, yes, be a hard worker and overperform more than anybody, no matter where, whether it's picking up gum or at the financial institution, right?
Absolutely.
Learn to trust your gut. You know, many of us didn't learn to trust our gut until we were 30 and 35 and 40. But you know what? Sometimes things just don't feel right. But you're looking at society and they're going, come on, we're hanging out here. Or you're supposed to be like this. And you just don't like it.
Yeah.
And it's a really hard thing to understand what you like or not. But the most important thing is, who do you have around you that you trust, and you know they have that when they mentor you, it could be a friend, it could be whoever, they are the best. They care about what happens to you. They're not doing it because how you make them look, because they hang out with you because
or
you're
if
the
it
cool
makes them
one.
comfortable.
Yeah, like, you know, and who do you have around you that you can bounce ideas off of? Guys and girls like me who, I don't know you, but I want the best for you.
Absolutely.
Right? And sometimes you find
that.
sometimes you find these people even on social media, because if they say that if you don't, you know, the circle around you can either be the circle of trust or it could be a prison.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Who do you have around you to help you apply these notes and stuff like that? That's some of the biggest questions, you know?
Yeah.
But anyway,
all right,
bottom
Daymond,
line,
well, I appreciate you hopping on, man, and joining me. And you actually hit me up for one of my TikToks I made of you, where I was dancing in front of a younger self, and how you followed me on Twitter. But
all good, man.
Anyways, man, thank you so much for popping me on. I really appreciate it.
All right,
hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a good.
All right, you too. Peace.
Yeah.
You know what? I really like that young man. He has some tough questions that I wasn't smart enough to answer when I was that age. So let's see. We got some. You said YouTube. Let me see. Nikki. Let's see Nikki. Let's see if we can get Nikki. 67.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
How are you? I am fantabulous. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I'm good. Those glasses were fantastic.
I know. And funny story, when everyone first had them, I wanted them so bad, but I couldn't afford it. I could, but I didn't think it was the right decision. So I waited, and I just got them on sale for $150. Right?
Beautiful. So I think they're also
know.
good. I think they're also good because they said that COVID, you can get it through your eyes very easily. So those are really big and covering. So it's
Yes. I was looking for the incognito ones, but not too incognito. And these worked out perfectly. Thank you.
Good. So
How
where
are
you
you
from?
today?
I'm good.
I am from heaven. heaven. That's where I'm from. And I landed in Jamaica and migrated to New York City. That's where I'm
Ah,
from.
you're in New York right
Yes.
now?
Yes, the beautiful city of New York, New
All
York.
right, all right.
Yes, yes.
So
So
what's
I
your
just
question,
hopped in on
sis?
the combo. I have no idea. I just hopped in and saw live and I came in. My
Oh,
question, oh, so but I can find your question though. Uh, you know, it's about shifting your energy. When you leave from one convo with someone, you have to know how to leave that convo behind when you're entering the presence of another person, because that could change the whole conversation if you're still there behind. So if you're coming from an angry conversation and you're entering the presence of someone that's happy, but you're still angry, you're gonna make the happy person angry also, because all you want to express is your angriness and you want them to follow suit. So then you both standing there in an angry conversation and no one could really hear the problem until the other person decides to step back out and be like, whoa, 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 I was happy over here. I was just sharing my happiness with you. And you coming to share your angriness. So how do we differentiate and separate without the angry person feeling like you were reflecting also you're caught up in their angriness without
you know,
the confusion?
I wish I could give you an answer because you're right. You know, it works better on the other side when obviously you come out of a great combo and you walk into a room with somebody and you're like, hey, you know, trying to bring light to them. But I'm human, and I think that you made me realize something because I'm in so many combos so often, and sometimes, like I'll give you an example. I have a combo later on today or tomorrow that I know is irritating me because I know it's going to be a combative conversation, and I probably am bringing that energy into some of the other conversations I'm having. And I did this like about 2 months ago. My president of my company shared it with me. I go into Gary Vee's office, and we're going over. You know who Gary Vee is?
No idea who that is, but I'll
All right,
find
so
out.
he's another motivational guy, and this guy is amazing, right?
Okay.
I go into his office, and we're having a conversation on a broadcast, and he's like, "You know what, Daymond? Every time I see you, I have a good feeling when I see you. Like even when I'm on stage and I see Damon's coming up after me, he said I have a good feeling, and somebody just pissed me off, and I got on there and I was like, Yo, Gary, why are there so many stupid people in the world?" And he was like this. So I think we all gotta learn from that conversation you just had. How do you take negative energy and not take it in? Now, what I try to do first of all is when I wake up during the day or I'm in a really bad mood, I go, where is this core coming from? What's the core of it? And then I kind of remind myself where it's coming from, and I go, and why am I pissed off about it?
Yeah.
You know, is it because that person, you know, keeps coming to me with that? Well, then you know what? Maybe I need to cut that person out of my life, or is it because
Yeah.
something I did wrong? But I think
It's
that's a good
personally.
question.
You got to figure out whether it's personally or not personally. Because when you're taking everything personally, then you're gonna think everybody's pissed at you. But when you step back and you see, wait a minute, okay, so you're angry, but we're talking, but it's not really to me. So let's just stop first and realize that you're talking to me. So take the anger back to whoever you were last speaking to, and then come back to my happy place because you're now entering into my world. And I love happiness, sunshine, roses, everything, everything. So if you want to come in to get a little advice from me for some negativity, I will gladly and kindly advise you on it. And when I advise, it's not to take it personally. Again, it's an advice. So you take it, marinate it into yourself, and do what you choose to do. And then stop coming over here and telling me that I'm telling you what to do, because I did not. I just gave you some advice. That's all.
Let me ask you a question also, because I'm a native New Yorker as well. I've been back, you know, once or twice over the last 3 months. They're saying that, how are the streets looking out there? Because they're saying that obviously it's a little
Beautiful.
is not a little gamey out there, because I know some of my friends who live down there on the Upper West Side. They're saying they're seeing a lot of people, you know, shooting up and other things like that
New
in the
York
evening.
City, everywhere, Damon, is what you make of it,
Uh-huh.
right? So if you come outside and you want to see all the mask and the ugliness, that's what you're going to see. But if you want to come outside and see all the roses and sunshine, then that's what you're going to see. So when you ask me that question, I can only tell you what I see, right?
Right.
What I choose to see. And I choose to see New York City flourishing and blossoming and turning into something even more magnificent, that the people are going to continue coming here because they love the magnitude that we offer them here. So New York, we're just under construction. So is everybody. That's what the
There
pandemic
you
was
go.
about. So if
Under
you want to see
construction.
it, Exactly. And stop saying that the pandemic is like this, it's like that. Okay, we got that problem. Now what's the solutions we making from it?
No, that's true. I mean, I ask people who live in every city. I happen to know many, many people, obviously, in New York. My office was on 39th Street almost, only 2 months ago. I still have a place in, Empire State Building. I'm just hearing the stories of
We met like
my
some
people.
times way, way back then when you were in that office. Way, 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 way back when.
Oh,
Yeah, through
you only look like you're 23. So how much long ago can we have met?
Oh, I was introduced to you by a sister of mine. I was probably like 14, 15, or younger than that. So it was in the younger days. But
All right.
I saw you then and I see you now. So I thank you.
All right. Well, all the best, sister. Thank you for bringing brightness to us today.
Thank you so much. Have a peace day. Blessed one.
All right.
Thank you.
You know what? That's what you need. Like a lot of people, they don't realize, and I say it all the time. You want to be around people who are just exciting, who have such great energy. Like, that's who I want in my office or on my Zoom calls or sitting next to me. I want people that no matter how I look at things, and even if I'm having a bad day, they tell me New York's under construction. That's what it is. And you know what? You're going to see roses when you walk down there. And give you different ways to look at it, because you can't change the circumstance. All you can change is the lens that you put on the circumstance. All right. So, listen, I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to then give you a challenge, and then I'm going to then just send you guys all off on your merry week, and hope you guys do a lot of things, and remember about your weakness is definitely and absolutely a strength, because you can't get over what has happened in the past or what you've been born with. All you can do is try to change it and switch it to be exactly your weakness. One of my weaknesses, as you all know, I'm dyslexic. So why is that a strength of mine? Because every single time that I read a book, I had to read it 5 or 6 or 10 times to make sure I absorbed it, and I got more out of it than doing that. Also, every single time that I read about doing something, I would go out. If I could physically try to do it, I would physically try to do it. So now I had the instructions on how to do it and the real life experience on how to do it, because I never knew on if I was reading it the right way. Also, when people send me emails and texts and this and that, and I don't even waste time bullshitting with them and saying, oh, I didn't get to it yet. I always go like this. Yo, man, that's 7 pages. I'm dyslexic. I will never get to it. Sum it up for me quicker, please. And they sum it up. They go, oh, I get it. So that's what I do. And, it could be a weakness or it could be a strength. All right, let's go to somebody else. Let's see who else is on here. Ramesh. Let's try to get Ramesh over here.
Hey, John.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thank you for having me on live. Appreciate.
Pleasure. Where are you from?
Yeah,
There you go. Where you
yeah,
at?
cool. Yeah, so I'm basically from India. So I first saw you 4 years back, I guess, in the Shark Tank show. I really impressed the way you talk with the peoples. So I have this question. So I heard you in a podcast. You were discussing about the FUBU. So how you again and again. So you closed the FUBU business for 3 to 4 times. Then again you came back with the same business again. So because you really had the passion for something. But generally, with respect to psychology, what happened in the sense, for example, you had an accident with a car, so more tendencies you don't drive that car again, right? Even though if you love that car, you may buy a new car or you may opt out for the other option. So how is that feeling, like failing in a business and again coming back with the same business again?
All right, so good question. So you're asking how do because I failed in the business in Fubu, I failed in '89, and I closed it and opened it back up 3 times until 1992, and then I wouldn't get public recognition until '97, '98. And why did I open it back up after '89, closing it? Well,
Yeah,
you
so
gotta.
how is that feeling? Because there is some, there is always the number point of view and there is always the emotional point of view. So even
Yeah.
though we want to start because of the money, but that inner feeling gut says that no, don't. So how to overcome that?
Okay, so that is a great question. All right. So now it goes back to the fundamentals of why you open the business, how you open the business. Because prior to that, I had opened several other businesses that I kept failing at, but I had too much time or too much money invested in it. One was a crash car business. I would buy crash cars, at an auction for $2,500, and then hopefully I would put another $2,500 in it, and I can sell it for $15,000, right? But what did I realize? Number one, I don't like working with my hands, so it wasn't fun. But of course, the thought process behind that was, well, did you fall? Okay. The thought process was, if I don't sell it, then I can drive it around. I got a cool Sterling or a Jetta to drive around. But when I started realizing that each one of these crash cars to buy was expensive, I didn't have $2,500 to buy 5 cars times, 5, right? Also, when I had to buy the parts to put it together, you don't get $2,500 worth of parts from the dealer. You had to go to the junkyard or to people who found the parts, which were not the best people. I didn't like dealing with those people. So I closed the business for 2 reasons. Number one, the cost of entry to the business cost me a lot. I didn't like working with my hands, and I didn't like working with the people that were negative people that stole shit, basically, that I had to buy it from. So I closed that business, and I never opened that business back up. Now, with FUBU, I started with $80. And when I closed it again, I had only spent $300, and I loved what I was doing. I was like, where did I make that mistake? How can I get back into it? And then people would ask me, hey, we love your shirts. Where are they again? So I'll go, okay, let me get a loan, or let me get $500 more so I can make 50 shirts. And then I'd make the 50 shirts, and I would keep selling a bunch, and I would correct the mistakes I made before. But then I'd have to close the business again because I didn't have something the problem. But then I did it again with $1,000 because I just loved what I was doing. So there were 2 or 3 different reasons that I kept coming back. Like, you use it as a car example. Yeah, you may get rid of that car if you didn't like it. But if you really loved the car and you were like, I should have put the brakes on the damn car in the past, or I can just do this. It's something that you have to love. And because I did it with very little money, I can get back into it. The people who make the biggest mistakes, small operations make big mistakes because what they do is they borrow $50,000, $100,000, and then they make all these mistakes, and 3 years later, their credit is ruined. They have no friends. They lost their job. They have financial distress with their family, and they don't want to start again because they didn't take the appropriate steps. A friend of mine, Pedro, on one of his Instagrams, he basically said, we were doing our challenge. He said, when you look at and this is the best way to say it, when you look at a caterpillar that goes and makes a cocoon and it becomes a butterfly, here's what money does. Money tries to say, well, let me speed up the process of the cocoon. But if that caterpillar is in the cocoon, you cut it open to free the butterfly sooner, it's going to die, right? And that's what the big mistake people make. They think, let me throw more money at it, more money, and it makes the business sour to them. And so I say all that to say it's very simple. Take affordable steps and, make small changes. And if you keep loving the business, then you're great. You'll grow the business. If you hate it, you know what you're going to do? You're going to step away from it after a while, and you're not going to lose a lot. You're going to be like, yo, I put in time. I didn't like my partner, or I didn't like this. It wasn't for me. It wasn't the right time, and I'm done. But you got to take affordable steps, and that's the most important thing that you can do.
So basically what you are saying is like, I heard in Jordan Belfort's podcast, I guess you were telling, so we didn't have much inventory. So even before we making the shirts, we used to slip into the events and all those stuffs and sell with, talk to the celebrities and give a free shirt for them. So then use that as an advertisement. So it's basically, if the textile industry or the fashion industry needed a big inventory, so where you need to invest millions together before start selling, so then the chances of going back to the business was very less. So that's what you're saying?
Yep, that's what I'm saying. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, man. All the best.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate for taking your time. Thank you. See you.
My pleasure.
Yeah.
There you go. I think that's the best way to end it. Listen, take affordable steps. And right now, a lot of people are at home taking affordable steps on how to hopefully, get to that place you want in your job. Because a lot of people have around you are either saying, well, I'm quitting the job, or I got let it go, furloughed and you're like, well, while I have it, I can just go out there and bust my ass and try to show that I add value, or maybe there's vacant areas that you can say, listen, I'm doing my job here and let me do that other person's job, or a couple of hours in there because you always wanted to move into that space, or your business, or if you left the job and you're like, or you couldn't currently have a job and spend 20% of your time now that you don't have to travel, spend that time working on that new business or whatever else you can to help you grow and and accomplish what you want to do. So, so here's my my challenge for you for the week. Identify what makes you unique, what you've always been seen, looking at, and viewing you as a weakness, and find a way to translate that to a quality in your business or wherever you work. And I chose this because this is a time for everyone who is feeling like they're experiencing weakness after weakness to know that you don't have one, because everybody's now taking this inventory of themselves, or I hope they are, and seeing how they can apply it. So, that's what it is. And tomorrow I'll be bringing on digital marketing expert John Marino and sports marketing genius Rob, my man, for Power Talks at 1 p.m. Do not miss it. I appreciate everybody. Be safe out there and enjoy your summer. And I will talk to you later. Thank you.
If you want another awesome video in our Black Excellence series, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.